We're going to be disrupting the industry is the goal. Now, I went over this a little bit last week, but I want to revisit this because this is very, very important. We're strategically engineering wealth. But you guys see on your screen the Rothschilds. These are the godfathers of the banking industry as we know it, right? They still live. Their family still lives today. These individuals are trillionaires, you guys, not billionaires, trillionaires. It's one of the families that has the privilege of being able to print money and loan it out at interest to governments and countries all around the world, okay? And you see here this statement here, let me issue and control the nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws. From their word, from their mouth, right? So it's money that controls governments, lobbyists, and all that kind of stuff. So the reason why I'm asking you, sharing this with you guys is because I want you guys to understand is that right now we're $35 trillion in debt, meaning the government don't even know how to balance the budget, right? They don't even understand. They're trying to manage cash flow. Now, let me put that in perspective for you guys when we say 35 trillion. Now, really, really pull in here. I've shared this before, and we talk about how words talk, but numbers scream. So you guys have heard million. You guys have heard billion. You guys have heard the word trillion. Those are words. They just talk and they rhyme. But when I tell you they are light years apart from each other, you begin to understand the magnitude of what $35 trillion is, or what $1 billion is, or what $1 million is. And to give you guys an example, if you were given $1 million, $1 million, and you had to spend $1,000 a day, do you guys understand that it would take you 3 years to spend that $1 million at a $1,000 a day clip? 1 million. Now, I want you guys to understand the difference between 1 million and 1 billion. Same scenario. You had to spend $1,000 a day until you spent that $1 billion. You guys realize it would take you 2,740 years to spend that $1 billion. Not 3 years as a million, but 2,740 years. You wouldn't be around. That's the difference between $1 billion and $1 million. Huge. Now let's go to trillion. Same scenario. All right. To spend $1 trillion at $1,000 a day, it would take you over 5 million years to spend that money. So when you guys see $35 trillion in deficits, like who do we owe $35 trillion to? You guys don't even understand the magnitude. You will never be able to pay that back. And so it creates this centralized wage slave mentality, if you will. So that's why we say cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. So what I want you guys to realize here is the central banks have traditionally controlled and dominated the sourcing of needed capital in the form of supplying interest-bearing loans to everyone and keeping the profit. So they control the sourcing, all right, and the supplying of money, right? So the interest that they go ahead and they have the opportunity to decide what the interest is going to be. They can manipulate that, right? So when you take out a loan at interest, that means you're interested. So if it's a $20,000 loan that you want, so you said, I want this $20,000 and I'm interested in it, but I have to pay 20%. That's your interest rate, right? They control that. And when you're paying that back, that becomes their residual cash flow into perpetuity, if that makes sense. So I want you guys to look at this. This is the centralized environment here. So let's just say, for instance, A wants to send B some money, right, in the centralized environment. You guys don't know it. You're thinking that you're sending money from A to B. But what's really happening is going from here to a centralized bank or a financial institution, then going to B, right? If B wanted to send money to C, you think that B is just sending money to C, but no, it's really going through the centralized point of control right here to C. So that's what centralization is all about. What we're able to do, you guys, now because of blockchain technology, and many of you are new to this, the beauty of it is that it's removed any need for middlemen, all right, who are at the center of all the control, and empowering us to control the sourcing and distribution of needed money for our members worldwide without the need of repayment. We're talking for $28 a month. And so what we're doing is we're going from this to this. This is a distributed network. This flattens the pyramidal structure. So when people ask, is this a pyramid? Understand they don't even know what we just covered here. Because we're not taught this in our schools and institutions. So now that you know that, your internal communication shouldn't be flustered when someone says pyramid or anything like that. We're flattening. There's no middlemen here, and we're able to move value within our ecosystem, a closed loop ecosystem. So we're in phase 1 right now, where we're building the network, okay? Doing the plumbing, as we like to say. And we have a Mobius loop infrastructure that when I tell you guys, if you understand how this behaves, there's no way in the world that you would want to leave this and do anything else that doesn't incorporate what I'm getting ready to share with you guys. Okay? So we're going to be going to phase 2 at some point in time, but right now we're in phase 1. So let me talk to you guys about what I mean by that. Here's the deal. If people really understood how our financial ecosystem works globally, if the people just stand, the game is over, right? The $35 trillion game in wage slavery is over. We just have to rise up with our awareness and educate people about what's going on financially. That's why we're talking about becoming smarter than money. You have to know the basics first, right? So I want to talk to you guys about this. Our 4 guiding principles. We talk about this in new member orientation. And for those of you that are new, please tattoo it to your soul. These 4 guiding principles will change your life if you abide by these principles. All right. Number 1, belief is more important than skill. And I'm not going to break all that down this time, but belief is more important than skill. Number 1 principle. Number 2, if your plan requires luck, it's a bad plan. That's gambling. There's no luck here in our environment. We have a system. We have predictability. We have mathematical certainty, right? Number 3 principle, words talk, but numbers scream. You got to understand how to read numbers, right? Become financially literate by understanding numbers, all right? And then number 4, this one here, cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. Now, when you guys look at this picture here, it looks similar, right? So most people don't understand how this works here. This is the circle right here. I'm going to find my pointer. I can't see my pointer for some reason. Okay. 1 second, you guys. There it is. Okay. So this right here represents linear income. Right? This is the wage slave right here, where people just go around in circles. Linear income. Trading hours for dollars. They have no leverage. And as we talked about, it's politically driven. Right? Someone has to die or get fired. You have to brown nose your way. It's cutthroat in the corporate structure. It's linear. So you can make more money, but what do we do when we start making more money, accumulating more money? We get a bigger home. We get a fancier car, right? We go on more extravagant vacations. So we're just broke on a different level, and we're still going in circles. We're still a rat, but we're just a bigger rat in the rat race. But when you fold that piece of paper, it turns into an infinity sign. There's a Mobius loop, all right, that deals with sacred geometry. I'm not going to go deep in the rabbit hole there in terms of sacred geometry and all that, but there's a Mobius loop effect that governs everything that happens in this physical reality. This is the residual cash flow that creates infinite leverage and 100% mutual benefit. Now, you guys see how similar it is, but it was just a twisting of that paper that turned it into an infinity sign. One of the things I want everyone to understand is that when it comes to big transformation in our life, it's not going to be something big. It's always something small and granular that makes the big difference. It's the same thing here. Let me help you guys understand what I'm talking about here. I'm going to talk to you guys about this Mobius loop infrastructure that is an absolute game changer here. Because what it does is that it puts cash flow on the infinity sign, and as more and more and more and more people get on this infinity loop, it only gets bigger and bigger to facilitate everybody on this planet. There is no saturation point, if that makes sense to everyone. I'm going to break this down for you guys. Really pay attention here. So you guys see on your screen here, this is how the cash flow moves in our ecosystem. That purple ball represents the cash flow ball that you guys typically see. It moves infinitely, not in a circle, but that twist allows it to facilitate everybody, okay? If you were to look at the dynamics of a tornado, it behaves the exact same way. It's like a torus, if you will. So this is what we have in our business, unlike other businesses. So you go ahead and complete your 3x10 cooperative in our ecosystem, right? What ends up happening in your 3x10 cooperative, you're at $175,598 every 28 days residually. And you think, well, it stops there. So that's why people think, well, that's the saturation point. Nobody else can do it. It dies right there. No. Another one, because of the Mobius loop infrastructure, will automatically, independent of your involvement, open up another 3x10. And this can happen infinitely, you guys, because it's a Mobius loop, right? Infinitely. So as everyone's going up the escalator and that one gets filled up, guess what? Another one will open, and your 3 strategic partners can follow you. Their strategic partners follow them. We're talking about an infinite success line that will facilitate all 7+ billion people on this planet. They would literally have to come up with a new economic system worldwide, which I prefer anyway, to get rid of the monetary system, go to a resource-based economy, but that's a whole nother conversation. So this is what I want you guys to understand. This elevator or this escalator, it goes up infinitely. There is no saturation point to what we do because we have the Mobius loop infrastructure. So this is what we mean by it's 100% mutually beneficial. This is what we mean by the fact that it works 100% of the time for 100% of the people that complete the 2 doable steps, because the numbers and the math is the math. There's mathematical certainty in it. There's an infinite climb as well to this deal, if that makes sense to everyone. Understand the power of what you got here. So cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. So here's exactly what we're talking about getting here, team. You're able to experience continual financial growth for the rest of your life when you become a member with us. I mean, it is literally as simple as getting on an escalator and just simply empowering 3 people to experience the exact same benefit. The exact same benefit. Has nothing to do with acronyms next to your name, seniority, none of that here. Every person on this planet that can fog up a mirror can have the exact same benefit if they come to the exact same mindset that we have the exact same frequency and vibration in terms of what it is that we're trying to do. Everyone has the exact same benefit, right? No, nothing can separate us from that. Here's what's so powerful. And this is what we're so passionate about as a global community. Because we're talking about everyday life, right? Things happen in life. So our bank, the way in which we're focused on as a global community, it acts like an empowerment fund. I love that word empowerment, right? Because it removes victim mentality. We become empowered. When you understand that we now control the sourcing and distribution of money, that's empowering. We don't have to wait on anyone to tell us to give us a raise. It's not politically driven. We now have the power. And it provides members ongoing deposits for life events like college, medical costs, like buying a home, starting a business, retirement, vacations, and so much more. And here's what's so powerful about it. What's more is if something happens where the economy changes, which will happen, the market goes down, inflation rates go through the roof, we're completely protected from any downside within our private Mobius loop ecosystem, you guys. I shared with some of you last week, I think it was last week, we talked about when COVID came about, and we're doing a different iteration, but we're in our closed loop ecosystem, and it was Mobius in nature, but it wasn't residual in nature, that when the world stopped and everyone was on lockdown, but people still had to eat, and they're wondering how they're going to generate money, all right, in order to eat, put gas, in their car, all these things, our organization blew through the roof because we're a closed loop ecosystem. People were making $50,000, $100,000 a month. It's ridiculous. People had never made money in their life before. Make sense? Because it was closed loop. So this is the best financial system that we've ever come across in our life. And best of all, it's only $28 a month. That's what's so powerful about it. So when a person has a job, that simply means their money is unemployed. And that's true. They're linear, right? They're exchanging the most precious asset, time, for money. We're teaching people how to employ $125 one time, teach duplication. And this is what can happen to them on the other side of money. They just rise up this escalator infinitely. So when we talk about this empowerment funding model that we have, I want to talk to you guys about the difference between the exchange of labor, which most people have been taught to do, working a job, right, versus investing, or the investment of labor. We're an investment of labor, right? So we're not talking about working a job. We know that's linear. Investing is risky because you don't control what's really going on behind the scenes in that scheme, whether it's mutual funds, index funds, hedge funds, you don't control that. We control the investment of labor here. So just to help you guys understand, in a job, 8 hours may translate, let's say, $200 a day at a job, which in a 5-day work week, that's $1,000, right? But it's going to be a continuous exchange of time for money. It's linear. If you stop working, you're not going to have that $1,000 come in the next week. You have to go back the next week. And that's what makes you a slave, because you haven't found out how to employ your money yet. Many people are trying to put it in risky investments, percent daily programs and everything like that, that you don't even know what's really going on behind the scenes with that, but you're gambling. Here, everything is very transparent and open. We know the numbers, the mathematical certainty. So what we're doing, you guys, collectively as a global community, we're just ushering in a new model. This is what everyone's going to be doing. It's a one-time investment of labor. The labor is identifying 3 strategic partners. The investment is the 125 for those 3 tokens that you're going to pay it for to those 3 partners. That's the investment of labor right there, right? So it's not a continuous exchange of labor on ongoing investment into traditional financial schemes, because that's all those are schemes. I'm not saying that they're scams. I'm not going to go there. This is not about a revolution in terms of picketing and all that. This is just about, okay, we know the game that you guys are playing over here in the traditional financial arena. It's rigged. Now we have something that we control the outcome, the velocity of money, and the impact that we can have. We're unstoppable. We're empowered, right? So we're ushering that in because the artificial intelligence team that's baked into the co-op wallet, it goes to work for us independent of us exchanging any more time or money upon completing the 2 steps one time, which is our investment of labor. Come on now. Really? My internal communication is so strong because I know what I know what I know. I laugh at when people say pyramid. That cracks me up, right? So when you look at what we have our hands on, you guys know the drill here. This is exactly how it works. We activate 3 accounts one time. We get $29 directly deposited. Our strategic partners do the exact same thing. One-time investment of labor, they receive $29. You go to $47 unavoidably. You did nothing else. But your residual cash flow went up, and that's more valuable than cash accumulation. These strategic partners do the exact same one-time investment of labor, right? They're going to get $29 each, but your 3 strategic partners went to 47, you went to 96, independent of your involvement, because the AI is going to work for you, and it's escalating you up infinitely because of the Mobius loop technology. No one has to lose in this environment. No gambling, right? And what I love about this investment of labor, we are investing in the human resource, which there's nothing more valuable than the human resource. So when you are giving that token forward to 3 people, you are investing in their imminent future. Understand, you're giving people a golden token that will unlock the freedom that they desire because of this right here. And as you guys know the drill, the money just goes up naturally as everyone does the one-time execution of investment of labor. And now that you guys have a better understanding, if you didn't, of the Mobius loop infrastructure, it facilitates everybody on this planet. At $547 a month, that's an extra $7,000 that you've given yourself a pay raise. That's not politically driven. You control that, right? At $1,800 a month, because we get paid 13 times a year, you've given yourself a $23,000 annual pay raise. That's not politically driven because we're empowered. We did that. At $4,192 that you get paid 13 times a year, that's not politically driven. Are you guys hearing me? Because we're empowered now. We did that. That's $54,000 a year. You gave yourself a pay raise without asking anyone for permission. All the way up to $2.2 million. Because $175,000, all right, times 13 is $2.28 million. We're literally showing a person or people how to simply get in line, accept a token, and we're talking about taking that $125, and we can literally show someone how to get a over 5,000% rate of return on a $125 investment. Did you guys hear what I just said? You're going to show someone how to take $125 and get a over 5,000% rate of return in 10 weeks in this example here. Hell, it can be 10 days. It could be 10 hours. We're empowered now, and we get to control our destiny with this one here. So I wanted to share that with you guys to help you guys understand how to handle objections. You know, bypass those people that, you know, have an opinion that they just want to defend their right to stay broke. You're looking for people whose opinion matches our opinion, if that makes sense to everyone, okay? And so all we're doing is giving people, 3 people the golden token, tell them to turn around and do the exact same thing. And they don't leave the field. They don't quit on this business until they stare at this thing long enough to have that, oh my God moment. So we're intentionally engineering wealth, you guys. There's nothing on the planet you're going to find better than this. This is, to me, now this is my opinion, all right? This is better than any insurance program. This is better than any financial program that a financial planner can give you. This is better than any traditional brick and mortar, multi-level marketing, affiliate marketing. When you have something that appeals to the masses, because everyone's in need of residual cash flow. Think about the product that we're offering people. This is for everybody. Then you can dine with the classes here. So I wanted to share that with you guys today.